It was a hot, sweltering day in May when we reached the Gir National Park to film The Lions of Gir. We roamed the forest for 3 days on predetermined routes, without luck. The pressure was mounting, and so were the costs. On one of these days, we did see some pug marks, along with human footprints and tire marks, an indication of a harmony and cohabitation which would only reveal itself in the days to come. Despite the disappointment of not sighting the lion on the first 3 days, we enjoyed the forest. A forest which was very beautiful, dry and brown, with leaves strewn all over. We were told that the forest is as old as 3,000 years, and that there are people living inside the forest whose heritage is almost 1,000 years old. We were enjoying this vista, but with a very low budget and no sign of the lion yet, my patience wanted to desert me. I had definitely come with a purpose. As our eyes scanned the woods, we suddenly noticed a movement some distance away. A small group of spotted and swamp deer was trying to move across very cautiously. Their tails were erect and their forelimbs were drumming the ground. We heard a small, shrill call as well. I had noticed this behavior earlier, an alarm response. I was excited. The animals had sensed danger. And then we saw it. I was awestruck. A critically endangered species which survives in the wild only in the Gir Forest and the adjoining areas of Gujarat, the Asiatic lion branched out some 100,000 years ago from African stock. It entered India some 40,000 years ago after establishing territories ranging from Saudi Arabia to Pakistan, but gradually disappeared, and after the middle of the 19th century, the entire species was wiped out, except in India, where only 12 lions were left in 1880. The arid and dry deserts of western India have kept herders constantly on the move in search of fodder and good pasture. Intensification of agriculture in the surrounding areas pushed these nomads into the forests, where they started building permanent settlements. Some were also forced to settle in the wilderness by the local inhabitants. These came to be known as the Maldharis, or the owners of cattle. Their history inside the forest is almost 300 years old. They are a set of very beautiful people with sharp features, following the Hindu religion. They are worshippers of Lord Krishna. The main income of the Maldharis is from the sale of milk. They are the oldest group engaged in cattle rearing and consider themselves the protectors of the forest. Their herds consist mainly of buffaloes, some cows, and a few camels. The absence of land ownership encourages the Maldharis to move from place to place within the forest. The Maldharis reside in small clusters of huts made of mud, teak wood, dried leaves and thatch. These clusters are called nesses. The huts, also housing the cattle, are fenced with timber logs and brushwood. This is a deterrent for lions seeking easy prey. The Maldharis generated considerable income from grazing rights and the sale of milk for the state of Junagadh. They were provided more facilities and allowed to graze more extensively in the forest. The huts are clean and beautifully maintained. The ladies wear colorful dresses, intricately embroidered, and engage themselves in various household activities. Maldhari society is male-dominated. Ladies are held in great respect and worshipped as a form of the goddess Durga. Maldharis are fond of ornaments and tattoos. They have a very sensitive relationship with the forest and its surroundings, not only deriving immense benefits from the forest resources, but also losing a few cattle to the lions in the bargain. The Gir Forest is one of the largest compact tracts of dry deciduous forest spread over about 1,400 square kilometers and surrounded by a peripheral forest of about 470 square kilometers. It was notified as a sanctuary in 1964 and part of the sanctuary a national park in 1975. It has become a very stable ecosystem with tremendous regeneration and self-sustaining capacities due to a rich diversity of flora and fauna. The forest has a high density of top carnivores and is home to the only living wild population of the Asiatic lion. Deeply camouflaged in the forest, our attention was drawn to this movement in the bush nearby. A rough-scaled sand boa was trying to ingest its prey. Non-poisonous, it kills its prey by constriction. Once it bites, it may be difficult to secure a release. Closely resembling a species of python, these snakes are also called baby pythons and have been extensively killed for their skins in the past. Boas do not lay eggs, but are live-bearing. This is in contrast to pythons, which lay eggs. Snakes are generally very vulnerable during this process. We could film this from just about 5 feet away. The swamp deer is the largest member of the deer family. After domestic cattle, which constituted over 75% of the lion's diet till some years ago, the spotted and the swamp deer are important prey species for the lions and leopards of Gir. The spotted deer is the most beautiful of all deer. The breeding season is at its height in May. They are prolific breeders. New fawns can be born at intervals of 6 months. The stags roam widely from herd to herd in search of does in heat. No territory is established. The bony antlers of the deer are a means of defense against predators and for use when stags fight for the possession of females. This is a trial of strength to establish superiority and is rarely fatal. The deer are very protective of their antlers. The nilgai, or the blue bull, is the largest antelope found in the Gir Forest. Although well distributed in the plains of North India, it is rarely found in South India. They are the earliest known ruminants and characterized by their graceful build. Females are much smaller than males, and the young bulls and cows are tawny in color. The adult male has a coarse, iron-grey coat and stout, conical horns. They have a habit of depositing their droppings at the same place and can also live without water for a long time. Gir is a bird watcher's paradise. Resident species like egrets, cormorants, darters, storks and ibises are found in large numbers. Darters have narrow pointed beaks for spearing fish. Because of their long, thin, snake-like necks, they are also known as snake birds. This bird was in its breeding plumage. A medium-sized wader with long legs, the lapwing lays its eggs in the ground and protects them with great care. The Kamleshwar Dam is an oasis inside the forest. It also harbours one of the largest wild populations of marsh crocodiles in India. Believed to be about 200 million years old as a species, these crocodiles are vulnerable and included in the IUCN Red List. Sex among crocodiles, as among tortoises, is determined by the temperatures at which the eggs hatch. Males are produced around 31.6 degrees Celsius and females at slightly higher or lower temperatures. The only golden-backed woodpecker with a black throat, this black-rumped flameback hops from tree to tree. Feeding mainly on insects and grubs taken from the bark of trees, it keeps the tree healthy by cleaning it of insect infestations. It has a strong, conical, chisel-like beak and a very sticky tongue for extracting its prey. Its brain and eyes have evolved to protect against the shocks of constant drumming and flying debris. Gir also boasts of a wide variety of raptors, kites, harriers, hawks and eagles. The serpent eagles are largely forest raptors, specialized in preying upon snakes and other reptiles. The forest is preparing itself for spring. The langur monkeys have raised a family. The langurs are enjoying the fresh buds while dropping some to the floor, where the deer will merrily enjoy the feast. The relationship is very special. The langurs, from their vantage positions, generate a guttural alarm if they spot a predator. This serves as a warning to the animals below. The spotted and the swamp deer also produce low-pitched, distinct alarm calls on spotting predators on the prowl. This puts the other animals on alert. Settlers, poachers and hunters had almost claimed this species when the Nawabs of Junagadh and the British administration stepped in and stopped the indiscriminate killing of lions. The 19th century witnessed large-scale exterminations. The more adaptable and gregarious nature of the lion made it more vulnerable to poaching and hunting. Loss of habitat was also significant. Since tigers were more opportunistic, they gradually invaded lion country. Easily available cattle replaced the natural prey species, which were reducing because of the pressures of hunting and habitat degradation. Vengeful killing of lions became common. Moving from place to place within the forests, the Maldharis caused deforestation and land degradation due to grazing and meeting their requirements of fuel and building material. Fertile topsoil was also removed from the forest floor and used in agricultural fields. Grass production came down, and the deer and antelope population was adversely affected. It was then decided to declare a part of the park a national park and free it of Maldharis and cattle gradually to facilitate an easy shift. A number of families were relocated. With the population of cattle coming down, the natural prey base picked up considerably. Today, lions exist in the wild only in Africa and India as separate subspecies. Slightly smaller than the tiger, the lion is the second biggest of all living cats on Earth and the only species in which the sexes look different. Only males have manes. The Asiatic lion is smaller but higher than the African. It has a scantier mane, but a more shaggy and dense coat which camouflages the animal well in its surroundings. The Asian and African species have been crossbred earlier. The offspring were not healthy. Tigers and lions have crossbred to produce healthy ligers or tigongs. Asiatic males have long beard-like manes which begin to grow from the age of 2 and reach full growth by 5, the color darkening with age. The less dense manes of the Asian lion are an evolutionary response to the warm, low-altitude, thorny environment at Gir. African lions live at cold, higher altitudes. Luxuriant maned lions were hunted more, and the reduction of mane density could also have been an evolutionary survival response. The hunting of animals requires a high degree of intelligence. Hearing, vision, and perception of scent are highly developed in carnivores. The whiskers are sensory and tactile. Facial markings help in identifying and counting lions. The vibrissae at the root of the whiskers are unique. Amongst the big cats, tail tufts are found only on lions. Deeply cushioned pads under their feet help in stealthy, noiseless movements. Pug marks also help in counting lions. The lion plays an important role in protection of its territories, which may range up to 200 square kilometers. Territories of females are smaller and may extend up to 80 square kilometers. The lion marks its territories by squirting urine backwards. All lions in Gir are descendants of the once surviving 12 lions of the area. Inbreeding has caused a weakening of the gene pool. The female achieves sexual maturity at the age of 3 and the male between 5 to 8 years. Both remain sexually active till the age of 15 years. The urine of the lioness also contains pheromones, which assist the lion to assess the fertility and reproductive status of a lioness. In Indian lions, mating can take place throughout the year and lasts for a couple of days. Because of a weak gene pool, the frequency of copulation is higher than with the African lion. The lions at Gir have poor quality sperm. During cohabitation, the pair does not like intrusions and avoids killing prey. They also do not accept bait. Unprovoked attacks on humans during this period are not uncommon. After a gestation period of 116 days, the lioness gives birth to 2 to 4 cubs in an isolated place, well hidden from other predators. In her lifetime, a female may give birth to 6 litters. The young are produced at intervals of about 2 years. Beasts of prey are generally born blind and helpless. Some baby lions can see at birth. It is the mother who looks after the cubs, marking her scent around the hideout. The cubs remain with their mother for almost 2 years. The period of lactation in lionesses is not defined, but before they are weaned, the cubs begin to scrape off fragments of flesh from prey the mother brings home. In playing with their parents or amongst themselves, they learn the art of hunting and may independently hunt only when about 2 years old. The cub mortality rate is high in the first 6 months. Often, a new male lion will kill and eat the cubs sired by other males, This reinitiates fertility in the lioness, which then becomes available for mating again. Lions are a social species and capable of transmitting behavioral traditions from one generation to another. And if the mother is a man-eater, man-eating is one of them. Man-eating is rare in the Asiatic lion. Severe droughts, coupled with scarcity of deer and domestic cattle, have earlier forced lions to enter human settlements and lift children and adults as opportunistic killers. Killing has also been self-defensive. The canines of the lion are bigger than that of a tiger. This enables it to sink deep into the throat of a victim that may be up to 6 times its body weight. The thick scrub forest and a shortage of prey do not allow the Asiatic lion to hunt in prides. The Asian lion often stalks its prey individually. Ambushing, followed by a short sprint, is preferred. An adult lion may consume 10 to 20 kilograms of meat. During difficult times, it can go without food for more than 10 days. Both sexes participate simultaneously in eating, as against the practice amongst African lions of first allowing the male to have his share. The now peaceful coexistence of the Maldharis and the lions is a unique example on Earth. The lions of Gir are remarkably fearless of man and allow humans to come close. The presence of human populations and livestock in and around the forest, together with the decline of genetic quality in the lions, has pushed the species to the point of extinction. There are just a little over 400 of these magnificent animals left in the wild. The loss of habitat is forcing some to leave the forest. This results in man-animal conflicts. Confinement within a 1,400 square kilometer area shared with humans and livestock makes them vulnerable to epidemics, which could wipe out the entire population within a month. In this, the Asian lion is more critically placed than the African. The thrust of conservation has been on relocating the Maldharis, creating waterholes, introducing native plant species, conducting a wildlife census every 5 years, and returning lions that have strayed out of the park to the interiors. Compensation for loss of cattle is also suitably managed. The lions at Gir need more space and relocation. The relocation is essential to prevent the species from any epidemic-triggered extinction. Despite the many threats, Asiatic lions do exist in Gir, even in the 21st century. The population is expanding, and India and the world can still be proud of Gir as the last refuge of Panthera leo persica, the Asiatic lion.